this gorgeous clematis. This clematis was originally here when we first bought the house, some 34 years ago. And I have divided this several times. It wasn't originally in this spot, but look how pretty it is. This is Shauna from Heritage Creations Cut Flowers, and it is May the 3rd, I think. 5th. Ha. Well, it's Monday, May the 5th, the Monday of Mother's Day week, which is always a bit crazy. Now, I only have a couple orders via my website, and that is because I really did not market the website orders very much because of my Snapdragon loss. Didn't have a lot of Snapdragon, so I was really worried about Mother's Day and what I'd have for Mother's Day. So anyway, I did have somebody order too, and I even got nervous about that. But I actually have a lot of things going on though. I have a biodegradable wreath that I need to make, and I YouTubed that, of course. And then Common Farm Flowers. She's in the UK actually, and she just put out a video, I think it was last week, about making funeral flowers, sustainable funeral flowers with no plastics or anything like that. And she did a wreath, and it was perfect timing. So I'm going to do it the way she did it. And this wreath it's actually for a funeral per se. They're going to go out in the ocean and do the ashes there, and they wanted a wreath. It has to be biodegradable because you have to go at a certain amount from the coast, and they're going to float the wreath in the water, and everything has to be biodegradable. Obviously, that makes sense. So anyway, I'm going to do that. I have to do that. They're going to pick it up on Thursday, and they wanted 2 bouquets as well. And then I have the 2 bouquets that are ordered, and then I actually have about 5 other bouquets that are ordered, but not through the website. And then I want to make bouquets and vase arrangements for the stand. So definitely we're going to be open on Mother's Day because I do have flowers. It just depends on what opens. All of this behind me, I just finished harvesting. I only got 10. I had 10 left in the hoop house. Got those, cut those. And then I got 10 out of the front area. And I really do think a lot of those will open up by the end of the week. So I have some sunflowers, which is great because that's what I need for the focal flowers and the bouquets. But I'll show you what I've got. So basically, I'm going to take you for a little farm tour. Haven't done that in a little while, and kind of show you what I've got going on here. And then I thought it would be interesting to see before Mother's Day. Here's the hoop house. Still have my onions growing, and actually they're looking pretty decent down there. I did propagate some mums. Here are my mum cuttings over here, and then here are the sunflowers. That big giant one is nowhere near opening, and I don't know what's going to happen with it, but basically I've cut all the rest of them. So used every stem in here, and down here are my mother plants that I took the cuttings off of. I still have my dahlias. I actually had to pot them up one more time for Mother's Day. So these are the dahlias that I started from seed way back when, and I'm going to be giving those away for Mother's Day. I do still have some lavender I need to plant out. And then from Petal Pickers over there at the very end, right there, I do have this is some scented geranium that I'm gonna grow up and then propagate some of that out. So we'll see how that goes. My David Austin roses potted up in here, and some of them obviously are getting ready to bud. I don't know that they'll really be good for cuts this year, but they definitely will in the future. More dahlias that I started from seed over here. And then for my wreath, my biodegradable wreath that I'm doing, I've cut a lot of rosemary. What I've tried to do is, obviously it needs to be short because I'm going to do these in like little posies and then wrap those in the live moss. This is how Common Farm Flowers did it. And the moss will keep the posies hydrated, and then tie it on with twine to a grapevine wreath. But I'm also trying to find flowers that I know kind of hold well with not like a ton of water. They don't have to be super duper hydrated. This is my little pollinator area back here. And as you can see, kind of wrapped in there is rosemary. So I use some of the rosemary from there. I have 5. I just showed you one right there. 1 right there. And then this is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 David Austin roses. So here's one getting ready to bloom. Again, these are all their first year. I got these, they were just bare roots. So that's what I've got going on here. This is another area that I use for pollinators, and I've put some coreopsis and some milkweed and some lupin in here. And then I have over here where I've started some columbine. Got some of those going on back there. Here's my limelight that I cut off of every year. And then down through here, I actually cut off of this. It's an anise hyssop in a pot that's been there forever. I do have some lady's mantle in through here. I stick a lot of stuff in here. I was hoping that my alliums would bloom in time for Mother's Day, but obviously they're not going to do that for me. And then over here, I have a couple hellebores that I cut off of a lot, and some more columbine that I've cut off of. And then let's take you into the cooler, aka workshop. All right, so this is what I've got harvested so far. I have a florist that's going to pick up for me on Wednesday. So I've got her yarrow, mixed berry yarrow, Peter Cottontail yarrow. I'm going to use the Peter Cottontail yarrow in the biodegradable wreath, and I'm also going to use the yellow yarrow, so all those short stems. There is the rosemary. This bucket, I don't know, these are all short, but I'm not really sure that the snaps or the Bupleurum would hold up well. So I also have some short vases that I'm going to do for Mother's Day, so that's probably what that's going to be. Harvested all my Bupleurum because it was ready and needed to just get out of the sun and get harvested and hydrated. And then all the dianthus that was ready, and then there's my larkspur, so I have a couple bunches ready for her. And these are short ones for my short vases. But I also think I'm going to use dianthus in the biodegradable wreath because dianthus holds up pretty well. Today it's been a bit cooler, so that was a blessing, and I've gotten a lot done. But our cooler is not done. Bob is still working on our cooler, which obviously I wish I had. So the best I can do is keep everything in the workroom back there. Keep that AC unit on because it's cooler in there than it is in our house. And since I just have a couple days to pick up till Wednesday, there's no way that I can harvest everything myself and be ready for Wednesday with the wreath and everything. So that's what I'm doing. Here we are in the upper garden, and this is my succession of sunflowers. Obviously, this was the first succession, and I did cut 10 off of these today, but I really do think the rest of these are going to open up. I've been praying that they will open up for sure, but look, you can see in here, look, you can see color on a lot of them. So we are expected, not so much this one, but we are expected to get sun. Let's look at some of these. See them? Today's Monday, Tuesday, definitely a lot of sun. Wednesday's more cloudy. Look up there. But I really think, let me step back here, that these taller ones will open up. And if so, that will be perfect. I would definitely have enough sunflowers for bouquets. So there you go. This is some status right here. This used to be a row of anemones. Cut the anemones down. It's got some status going on. What you see covered there. I have been experimenting with direct seeding. I now direct seed because it's warm enough, my sunflowers. But I heard on the Dirt on Flowers podcast that one of them, I can't remember which one, she keeps talking about she just direct seeds her zinnias. And because let me go over here. So here, if you can see in the netting, there we go. So these are the first of my direct seeded sunflowers, yes. And then, definitely gonna have to see if you can see in there. Hopefully you can. I'm actually gonna open this up. So, can you see that? This is celosia, and this is seed I collected. And so I just set it really heavy in here, and it's all the way down. Now, the reason I have the netting on here, one, we've had the bunnies come in and eat, and two, when I first direct seeded these sunflowers, the squirrels were coming and digging them all up. So now I've put the netting over to keep the squirrels from digging them up and also the bunnies. And then I have this celosia actually self-seeded in another row. It was the anemone row, and so I decided that I would just transplant it all over here. I got a whole bunch of celosia from that. That was another experiment. Okay, this is my direct seeded zinnia experiment. Again, I heard from Dirt on Flowers, she direct seeds her zinnias, and I really needed to start my zinnias, but I couldn't because I needed my workshop as my quote cooler, and some of these lines need to be straightened out because they are pushing on my zinnias. I hate it when that happens. And so I first started with the Benary's Giant because I always have good luck with those, with germination on those. And oh my goodness, I don't know, again, I think you can see in there, but I've had really good germination on those, direct seeding those. Now, I have not so much good luck with the Queen Lime series, but I thought, okay, I'm going to try this. And guys, to be honest, I have had better luck, germination luck, with direct seeding them than I did, I know you can't see in here, than I did when I soil blocked them. So I was super excited about that. And then at the end here is some more direct seeded sunflowers. Now, so since I had such good luck with the Queen Lime series, and I really don't have great luck when I'm soil block them, I decided to go ahead and then in this row I have some sunflowers and some zinnias that I direct seeded here. So I did that. And then here, some Mahogany Splendor, a few asters that germinated for me, and then basil and zinnias, and then more successions of sunflowers. And then over here, these are some apples of Peru, a great trap crop, but you can also use them as cuts. Then some cocoa gold marigolds, celosia that I actually seeded. These are the shimmer ones, the new ones from Johnny's. Can't wait to see those. And then some zinnias, and then some white swan marigolds, and then some more zinnias. So that's what I've got going on in the upper garden. So this is all stuff that obviously is way too small, except for these sunflowers. Would be the only thing in this garden that I could use for Mother's Day. Look at this row of feverfew. Yes, finally, winner. This feverfew will not be ready for Mother's Day. Keeping my fingers crossed, praying. This is Monday, and I'm hoping that all of this will open up enough. I mean, I've got some looking really good. Look at that. Hoping all of these will open up enough for Mother's Day, because if I had this patch, the one that has color, that would be fabulous for Mother's Day. So these are all different kinds of feverfew, and this is the Magic Lime Green, the one that has opened up first. So just note that one opens up first. Here are my Magic Dwarf Snapdragons. Yeah. And then this is a few later successions. Here is what I've been cutting off of for the Dianthus. Some of them like these, waiting for them to open up some more. I think I can probably come out here and cut some more. I have cut some Statice, and I am going to use Statice in the biodegradable wreath. I have a lot of Statice that's on its way to opening up, but I really doubt. First of all, it's kind of short, and second of all, I doubt it's going to open. And then by Mother's Day. And then I have, look at all of my Scabiosa. Oh my gosh, look at this one. So I do think I'll have some, not a ton. Some of it is really on its way, but you know, I don't know. It's pretty close, but I don't know. We'll see by the end of the week. And this is one of my rows of snaps that were really short. And so I'm doing a test. This row, I have planted in this row the same as in the upper row. And it is sunflowers, basil, I need to weed. No, zinnia, sorry. Basil, and then ageratum. I don't have ageratum up there, but, and then the mahogany splendor. And then here, the only thing left in this row, this is all larkspur, and I've been cutting it as, you know, a few of the blooms open. So I heavily seeded this larkspur, and then I did not thin it out. And I was, again, another experiment I did to see how it would look, how it would do if I didn't thin it out. Would it all grow? And it really has. I obviously have some super short stuff. And then I have some Nigella right here. So I'm kind of waiting to see on that. So this little tiny bit of Nigella, and then all of that larkspur. So I'm really hoping, I mean, all of it's pretty budded up and colored. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So I really think I'll get a lot of that before Mother's Day. I've pulled the covers off of this. This is getting too wet. This is the lupin, and I'm going to move that somewhere else, and we're going to build up this bed more. And then I've got Dianthus here, later succession, a few little sunflowers, and then some cosmos over here. And then here I've got some strawflower. This is my Godicia that I shaded out for a while, and now I've taken the covers off and hoping, because basically there's some that look terrible right there. This water is running through here, right there, and so that's why that looks terrible. But the other ones, they've gotten tall enough, so that's why I took the covers off of those. This part of the garden is the new section, so we're kind of learning it and where the water flows through there. So, and this is the super small. We try to get them to grow, but they're not going to. Row of snapdragons. They're toast. And then my campanula, a lot of it has done well. Some of it that is shorter is where the bunnies ate it before we got the netting on it. So it's white campanula, and I see a lot of color, meaning the white color. So I'm hoping, super hopeful. What is this? Is this a Japanese beetle? It's not a Japanese beetle. I don't know what kind of beetle that is. Anybody know? Flicking it off. Oh, look. That's what I want to see right there. That is what I want to see. See a couple of them. That looks like it's going to open up. Look right here. These are going to open up, and I see a ladybug. I like to see ladybugs on there. These are all short. But for me, in my bouquets, I can use short. I'll use them because I also have some short vase arrangements and that kind of thing. But I'm definitely going to try Campanula again. I think I can make it taller like the ends. I think this, I know how to do it now. And that's why I just got this one tray. I wanted to see if I could figure out how to grow Campanula out here. Part of my problem was a bunny issue. Part of it, and I'm also wondering too if that part was the water issue. And also shading it out. So anyway, this is the Campanula row, which is not a total failure. So that's good. That's good. Happy about that. When I say shade out, this is what we've been doing when we shade out. Right here, we've gotten some taller hoops. We'll just put the shade like that. That keeps the ground a little bit cooler. The plants still get enough sun, and then they kind of reach and stretch. You know, lots of wind through there. It's almost like its own little tunnel. And this is my February succession of snaps, which is looking pretty decent. So we'll see how that goes in there. I do have some garlic in there as well. This is a row that we left in. This is Heirloom Mums. We just had to cut them all back. They were super tall. They had ladybugs all over them because they did have a lot of aphids, which that didn't bother me because I knew I had to cut them back. And because they were going to set buds, and you can't have that. So the last time you cut your Heirloom Mums back are about July. So we just cut this whole row back. This is white and then an apricot variety down there. This is the only row we left in. So this is a trial row to see how that goes. I couldn't leave the other rows in because I needed those. These are my bachelor buttons, been cutting hard off of those. And then here, my scoop scabby, that's looking pretty good. I started to shade those out to see if I could get them to grow taller too. They look a little peaked in the afternoon. So I just thought I would try the shading out on those. And then the next row over, my Lisianthus, that's been looking pretty good too. So I'm super excited about that. And again, we've tried the shading out with the Lisianthus. Oh, that one's fallen off. Have to fix that. But all the Lisianthus looks really good. And then this is Orlea over here. And this is interesting because I left this Orlea, did not cover it with netting or anything, and the bunnies were eating this. But this has bounced back pretty awesome. You can see down here the bunnies ate it. And I just pretty much chalked this up to let the bunnies eat this, and hopefully they wouldn't continue to eat everything else. But yet, look. It's pretty hardy. It's bouncing back. It might even give me some buds, some flowers up here for Mother's Day. So I'll be super excited about that. This is my row of Peter Cottontail yarrow. And I have to say, I am loving this. I really am loving the Peter Cottontail yarrow so far. It's a perennial. Leave it in. I just got it last year. Look how much it's grown. I'm getting some fairly decent, I can find some taller stems. I can definitely use the shorter stems. I'm going to use some of these for that biodegradable wreath I'm making, and then for the smaller vase arrangements. But I can get about 12-inch stems off of them now. So I love that. And then I think a lot of my mixed berry yarrow, I've already gotten like 20 stems off of this. I think a lot of this, you have to harvest yarrow when it's all blown open like that and you can see the pollen or it'll wilt. So I'm just waiting for, these to the rest of them to open, that kind of thing, to harvest them. This one looks great, but there's still more on the sides that need to open. So I'm just waiting for that to harvest the rest of them, but I did get a fair amount today for my florist order. And these are just my one little patch of bread seed poppies. And of course, you wait to get these right here. So I'm going to harvest some of these and probably put those in Mother's Day bouquets. I think that'll be fun. This is my row of vegetables. Got some tomatoes, and then there's some peppers and broccoli and lettuce down there. There's all the lettuce. Then over here, I've got my Baptisia, and it all came back, and I'm so excited because the bunnies just ate this down like crazy. This was the first thing they got, and I had to figure out what to do about it. And then my echinacea right here. The one good thing about the netting is I love it when I take off the netting and the plants look so pretty because the bugs hadn't eaten them. And then of course you take off the netting and the bugs get to them. But then I have some cucumbers right here, and they're at the beginning of my eucalyptus row. I've got silver dollar eucalyptus, some baby ones here, and then some bigger ones that I left in and overwintered. So most of those came back. And then you saw that we moved the peonies. So this is where we've moved a lot of the peonies, right here. And then next to the moving the peonies, this is my dahlia row. Planted some new tubers in there. Hopefully they'll come up. And I've got some other tubers that definitely have sprouted at the back, but the newer tubers are at the front. And then I've planted some GM. This is all perennials over here. So my GM perennials here just got planted, so they're babies. And then my mountain mint just got planted. They're babies. And then behind that, where the wood is, I just cut down all of my Bells of Ireland. But then I have this newer variety of eucalyptus, which I really love. And then over here, look at all the color coming. This is my flamingo phlox, and I think that I should be able to cut all this for Mother's Day. You wait till about a third of those little florets are open. So I'm just waiting for the rest to open. Over here, cut that. There's the echinacea. And then dianthus. I have a few dianthus over here to see how they do over here. And then this is all of my lady's mantle. This is a first year perennial. This is going pretty well over here. And then more of my peonies. But let me show you the peonies that I cut off of. I have like only 6 third year peonies. And they gave me so many blooms. So I am super excited. Just hopefully the peonies we moved will live. And look at these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that one still, I have a couple more to cut. But these plants right here, I mean, here's one I missed, but that's fine. Look. They gave me so many blooms. Just these few little peony plants. Gotta cut a few more of these. Not sure what happened there, but anyway, just these few little peony plants that we've had here gave me so many blooms. So I can't imagine having the rest of these. That would be awesome. I also have this type of eucalyptus because I love eucalyptus. I mean, in the fall, you put eucalyptus in a bouquet and it just makes it. So yes, I have some oregano over here with some self-seeded nigella. So I might even grab some of that for bouquets. So I do think overall, this is the lower garden, and I do think overall, like I'll be able to cut off that phlox. If I can get my feverfew, meaning there's nothing I can do. If the feverfew will bloom, that'll be really awesome. I do think my larkspur, I'll be able to cut that. I mean, it's all colored up and going. I was really hoping this Baptisia would be blooming for Mother's Day, but it is a first year, and the bunnies did eat it back, so I don't know if that kind of stunted it for this first year or what. I don't really know. And then I'll definitely be harvesting the Peter Cottontail and that yarrow. And then if I have all those sunflowers, I think I'll be good. And I do have peonies stored in the cooler, which is my refrigerator. So wish me luck for Mother's Day. I'll need it. I really, really do. I'm excited but nervous about making this biodegradable wreath. Hopefully I can do it and make it look beautiful as common farm flowers. I think that's how you say her name. I'll put it up here. Anyway, she made it look really gorgeous, so hopefully I can too. And I figure I'll video it just really honestly for myself, because if I do it and it turns out decent, then I want to know how I did it in case I need to do it again. So I'll probably put that up here too. Okay, this is our other peony patch where we have 50 peonies. We're hoping these survive up here. The biodegradable mulch, we covered it with wood chips. We covered the whole thing because the mulch just really wasn't holding up. All the flags are where there's peony roots, but you can't really see any growth from them. So anyway, this is the other peony field. And then over here we have some potatoes growing. And the last of my... See, originally we thought here, so we started here, we were going to plant peonies, and there are 2 peonies planted here, but then we decided it was going to be too wet over here. So we just left these here. Anyway, so we have 2 peonies over here. Oh my gosh, I keep telling myself I'm going to wear a hat so my bangs won't look so crazy. This is what happens with curly hair. Try to straighten my bangs out, look halfway decent, and then I come out here and they look crazy. Anyways, I was filming this and I had to get off because it was a phone call. And guess what? I got another online order for Mother's Day. I'm a little bit scared. Okay, so wish me luck on that. And again, that was the flower farm tour for Monday, May 5th, the week before Mother's Day. And maybe I'll try to follow one up and show y'all what actually bloomed and what I was able to do. But I'm a little bit nervous about Mother's Day. And the only reason I'm nervous is because I need all the things I showed you to bloom. I need those to bloom. So I do have peonies though. I keep reminding myself of that. And thanks for watching. I always forget to say this. Thanks for watching. I do really appreciate those that actually watch. And you know, you can always subscribe. That's helpful.